What's up, gang? Hope you're doing well. One of you sent me this video. It's Drive Like a Pro, episode 1, Driving Angles. This is from Dave Mason Elevate. I've not seen any of his content. I think I've seen like a couple shorts and things. As you guys know, I just don't spend a lot of time on social media or watching through a lot of people's content just because I know I'm going to get picky and I'm going to tear it down and say it's terrible. So I typically just don't watch much online shorts of basketball content because I think it's very difficult to get it right. But here's a full video, and this is an 8-minute video, so we're gonna watch it. We're gonna break it down, see what I think about it. And again, anytime we do any of these breakdowns, just like I do when I do film breakdowns of players, just like I do when I rewatch myself or do film breakdowns of myself, I'm gonna be picky. I'm gonna be pedantic. I'm gonna say there's some things I like, some things I don't like. I don't even know this guy. Doesn't mean he's bad, doesn't mean he's good. It's just I call it how I see it. Hopefully that gives you guys a better perspective of, you know, if there's some questions you may have, or just getting a second opinion. That's what these videos are. Shout outs to Dave Mason Elevate. Go like, subscribe, follow, support. Again, when I do these videos, it's to spread awareness, not to tear people down. So without further ado, this is just the intro, and this is why I hate shorts, because this would have been a short by itself. Stop driving like this. Instead, drive like this. And while he's right, sometimes you're just not strong enough to move this guy. So hopefully he's going to break down the footwork of how to do that, regardless of how strong this player is, right? So if you know the technique and you know the footwork, then you should be fine. When it's just like, just drive harder at their angle, just do this, don't drive, that's when it starts getting to where I'm like, yeah, duh. It's like, just make the shot, don't miss the shot. So let's see.
We're gonna cover driving angles. So think of like the best players in the world, the Jason Tatums, the SGAs, the Jalen Brunsons.
The Nikola Jokic, I'm kidding.
They are so elite at getting into their defender before they get into you. And I know a lot of players struggle with, they are so elite at getting into their defender before they get into.
So a couple things here, and it's just the intro. These are the things that my eye gravitates towards. I'm gonna be interested in how he teaches to get by, because right now he swiped through with his arm. That was one thing, so he swiped through. And then he took I think they call this a dig step. I'm really big on the onside step. So like really explode that right leg out there. I think Michael Lancaster teaches this dig step thing too, where it's like take a short step with your outside foot. I just think good defenders see that when you take that small step, like they're closing that gap. You're giving him, that's why I kind of don't like these setup dummies, like where people, it's like, oh, play me like this so I can show this. It always reminds me of the karate gurus where they're like, oh, grab me with your right arm, okay, and then they toss them and throw them down. But like, can you do that in a real fight in real time? Now teach me the techniques to do that in a real fight in the real time. Now we're talking, so let's see.
And I know a lot of players struggle with getting rounded out, getting jammed, getting pushed off their line. So this whole series is going to be really helpful. And the details we're going to cover require, number one, keeping our arm forward. Number two, how to get into our defender before they get into us. And then the third thing is how to utilize and straighten out our hips to the rim so that we're not rounding away from our defender, we're going straight into our defender and we're attacking the front of the rim.
I already don't like this. And again, it's exactly what I said. But to me, the foundational part is the most important. It's like, which foot do you step with? How do you drive off of that foot?
The first main key is when you drive.
So he's already in the stance. He's already in the stance of advantage. We talked about it in our channel. There's neutral. How do you beat a defender that's in neutral? That's the part. Like if you can beat a defender in neutral, it's really easy to beat them when you have the advantage, once you understand the mechanics and how it works. So he's showing like, okay, you've got the advantage now. So this isn't wrong. This is just not the part most people struggle with. They usually struggle with how do I get to this point? Because this defender is completely opened up and completely he's allowing this already. What if the defender is just standing straight up? You know, I think that's where people really struggle. So anyways, we'll keep it going.
You want your arm forward at all times, because if I drive my arm as backward, he can get to the ball, but he can also get to my body and jam me.
This is good for getting around them. If they are cutting you off though, that arm behind is really big, because that's when you can push off and create space for a shot. That's what Shea does a really good job of that. So driving with your arm forward and backwards, they're just different, and they accomplish different things.
So if I drive and my arm is in,
like, so right here, once you drive and your arm is behind, I'd be pushing off with that left shoulder. I'd be pushing. His momentum is going to keep sending him this direction, and then you can go back to the middle. Does that make sense?
front, try to
So it's not wrong. It's just not solving.
get it, coach? How can he get it now? I ain't got protection. And say that this happens a lot of time in the game too. I might get my arm forward, but he might try to reach for the ball. Well, in this,
So again, this to me is when you want to have your arm behind. If he's reaching across like this, I'm probably going to put my arm behind. I'm going to push him. I'm going to push him off.
scenario, I can start to paddle. I can use my elbow. I can.
Because this arm is free. A really good defender. We saw this the other day with the Moon versus, I forget his name, EJ. Moon versus EJ breakdown. A lot of good defenders are going to give you that outside arm, and as you take that away, boom. Now they're jamming you with that arm, and now your arm is back here and behind you. So it's really hard to keep going. I just think the arm you want to get is this arm for them, because if you can sweep through that one, it's going to pull them away. Anyway, it's hard to demonstrate while I'm just sitting here in front of the camera, but
Swipe and hit the hand. But the biggest thing that you want to avoid is getting your arm forward and then swiping and then.
I'm going to say this before the rest of this video plays. The way I teach, the whole concept of what he's teaching here, again, it's not wrong. I just think we're overcomplicated. He's broken it down into 3 things. What I typically say, keep your feet moving. Now in your head, if you get contact, keep your feet moving. Keep them moving. That's going to solve, I think that's going to solve all these same problems that he's going to bring up with less steps. Keep your feet moving. Now, if you want to break down the details and intricacies, we can get into that, but it's going to be a lot. You're going to have to study film. We're going to have to break down why and the footwork and all of that. This right here is what people think, like, oh, I'm studying film, I'm breaking it down. It's like, no, keep your feet moving. That'll solve most of these problems.
And getting it backward, because now he has that advantage again. So arm has to be forward, but we got to keep it forward. So you could swim this arm. If you try to go forward and his arm's on top, you could also paddle it up and get it off. But you have to first understand, when you take off, your arm should never be back.
Yeah, I just think right here, you're starting 25, 30% already through the problem, right? Like, players just don't know how to do this part. When they're matched up like this, it's like you're already starting 30% through the problem.
Backward, your arm has to be forward.
So I feel like a player that's getting to this point against this defender, like, surely they know this part, right? Don't they? They already know, like, this stuff is just intuitive once you understand this.
So if I take off and I'm like this, and I'm forward, now I can veer, I can push, I can do whatever I want to. The other benefit is, think of it this other way too. So say I drive, my arm's gonna be back on this. If I drive and my arm's backward and I try to bump, I can't really bump them. So if I...
Again, you can. I might try and find a clip. I don't know if I have any clips of this. Oh, I think I do. I've got some clips of it. I'll try to put a clip up of what I'm talking about. If someone's shooting the gap and you're going, like, yeah, you can just push off and you can get into your shot. You can push off and change angles. Like, this is what Nimhart is being really popular for at the moment, right? The Nimhart bump. Yeah, you can definitely do this.
I want to, like, do a step back, do a same foot stop. I have no leverage. The other key on keeping your arm forward is it helps get your shoulder past this shoulder. And if you can drive with that arm forward.
So my goal, shoulder past this shoulder is nothing. I don't think you're not winning. The defense is still chest. Like, they want to play with their chest and their hips. His chest and his hips is still here. This is why you want to get this shoulder past this foot and this shoulder. If you can get your shoulder past this shoulder and this foot, they're beat. You've got them beat. So right now, when I'm looking at this, it would almost be better to drive the opposite way, right? Just over the top foot, if you're going with the same concepts that he's talking about.
And you can get your shoulder.
Because you'd literally turn him in a circle.
Shoulder past his. Now you have room.
I just think against a good defender, I just don't think that does anything. Like, he has this arm free as well, and he can go get the ball.
Bump to finish. You can also get here and bump and get separation. Getting your arm forward is the first and most important step to driving with good angles.
It's just super deceptive. And I don't want to say it's wrong. It's just so deceptive because this defender is playing a very, very, very specific one type of way that this probably does work against that. I just don't know how much you see a defender shading this much and then just not being active at all with this left hand, or not shading like at an angle. Because you both have the same right to this space. Like if he decides to just be a bit more physical and push you, like, well, you guys are just headbutting each other all the way to the basket now, and it's like, okay, who's stronger? And so it's not, I don't think this is really solving the problem.
So now that we got our
getting into the defender, it's the same thing, right? So that's what he was talking about. Again, keep your feet moving.
Arm forward, if we just have it forward, but look at all this space that we have, you could still jam into me, and now I can still be away.
But this is what's going to happen. Even if you have the plan to bump someone, if he's a stronger defender, this is just what's going to happen. Doesn't matter what your plan is, what you were trying to do.
Away from the basket. So once our arm is in front, the next key is getting our elbow in. So if I drive like this, I'm going to go in slow motion. My arm is forward, and then my elbow's in, because now I can actually veer, initiate that contact, and close that gap. One of the biggest things of driving is your ability to get into your defender before the defender gets into you. So again, if I'm driving,
that's right. He's not wrong here.
Driving like this, and I just go here, but it's just out and.
But again, now it's up to both of you. It's a free. How soon can you get into the defender, or how soon can the defender get into you? Like that is true, right? Whoever gets into the other first is probably controlling that situation. But right now, you're not solving it. You're just saying it. To me, like, if you can give them the proper footwork, or you can give the proper angles, now you can show, well, I mean, as an offensive player, I'm always in control of it. So I can drive here as he tries to get into me, boom, change that angle, get into him.
Wide, he can still get into me. We have to get our arm forward and quickly get into his body with our elbow. Notice, now there's no space from my elbow, shoulder to him. Now I can manipulate him. I can get out, I can get to the rim, but we have to get arm forward.
And I also want to be charitable. He might just be talking about, like, once you've already beat your defender. It's just hard for me. It's just really hard for me to understand how this is better than teaching just onside step, one dribble to the basket, all the stuff we talk about all the time.
And at some point, whether I'm here paddling, and then I can get back here, but the moment that elbow gets into your body and that shoulder stays in front, now you're at a huge advantage against your defender. The third key we got is having our hips forward. So if I
hips and shoulders to the basket, 100%.
Drive.
But he's already, his hips are already to the basket. This is what I'm saying. They're already there before he started. To me, that's why it's like, it's so important to teach people athletic stance to where you're literally facing the basket, so that teach them how you can drive to the right, how you can drive to the left, and you can get your shoulders to the basket either way. Right now he's teaching, like, okay, if you're already lined up to the basket, the defense is already out of position, and we're already set, go. And to me, I'm like, well, offense already has the advantage. You should already be able to get
arms in front, my elbows in, but I'm going at this angle. My hips are facing this way, so if coach starts to push me, I'm going to go where my hips go.
And again, this is the footwork from the beginning. If you step with your onside step, it fixes all of this.
My hips are facing this, but if I drive.
So right now, if he steps with his right foot, it's going to force his right shoulder to go as well. So if he gets pushed, he's still going to be aligned going to the basket. Because he's stepping with the wrong footwork, not wrong footwork, different footwork.
Arms in front, my elbows in, but I'm going
crossover step here. If that defender pushes him, it's going to push his shoulders to the left. I was showing some guys this yesterday, actually, and a bunch of elite players that have elite handle. And I was like, look, if I push you, look what's going to happen. If you step here, look what's going to happen. And they were like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. This to me is like, the fundamental problem is the footwork, and it's your setup. The base is wrong. If the base is wrong, then all the rest, you can come up with solutions. You can come up with ways that it will work, but against bad defense. Against a good defender, this won't work.
At this angle, my hips are facing.
If you're stronger, it's going to work. If you're faster and stronger, it's going to work. But if you're faster and stronger, it doesn't really matter what you do.
In this way, so if coach, I have our hips in line to the front of the rim. And here's a little trick that helps a lot of my players, is if I'm on the right side of my defender, I'm almost trying to feel like my hips are opening up to the left side. And a lot of times what feels like you're doing it the other way is you just doing it the right way. So when I take off in slow motion, I want my hips in line to the rim, but it's almost gonna feel like I'm turning this way, when really when you look and press pause, my hips are really just to the basket. We do not ever wanna have the ball on the right side, and drive with our hips facing the right.
See, again, I just think it's just frustrating. This is why I hate it, because I don't know. I don't have a lot of context, and I don't want to seem like I'm knocking him as a trainer. This is still not nearly as bad as most of the stuff online. This does not feel cheap. This does not feel grifty. This feels very genuine. I just feel like it's skipping a lot of steps, and then it's saying don't ever do this, because I just think if you play your angles the right way, if you step the right way, you're forcing the defense now to overcorrect, right? So if you're forcing the defense to overcorrect, and your body does get turned this way, now you can spin back. Now you can play the other angle. Right now, it's kind of just like you're kind of just crossing your fingers and hoping the defense is going to play a certain way.
The more you can drive with your hips in line, the more you are going to not get bumped off your line by your primary defender. First drill to work on this is have a defender on your side. Step one, they're gonna split the line.
I really like these types of drills.
And you're gonna have your right foot on the line. Step two, we're about an arm length away. And then the third thing is, if I score on the left.
All right, so a couple things. I really like this drill. This is a great drill. I don't like the setup. Again, it's a footwork problem for me. So he's starting with the negative step already, or the step, just like a split stance. But again, if just start in a neutral stance, and then start with your step to the basket, or start here and start with your outside step to the basket. I just think the onside step, outside step is the best way to do this. It corrects all the things that he's saying you got to think about and you got to correct.
Left side. So if I can drive and finish on the left side of the rim, I get 2 points. If I finish on the right side of the rim, I get 1 point. So I'm really trying to over-exaggerate my angle and completely cut them off. That's the ultimate goal. The other thing is, if at any point I take off and my arm gets back.
That step right here, I think this step right here, I think you're done. I just think a really good defensive player pushes your shoulders. I don't know. I just think what I would do defensively, I think I would just get into and be as physical as possible. Unless you can step across his path, then that's probably fine.
Backward, the coach at the basket, or if you're just playing someone one-on-one, just hold each other accountable. But if this arm is back at any point, no matter if it goes in or not, the basket does not count. You have to keep that arm.
All right, let's see the next goal.
In front of you. So we're an arm length away, and he cannot move his feet. I cannot move my feet. So I'm here relaxed with the ball. I could fake. I could go right. I could go left. When I start to take off, the drill is live the moment I dribble forward. But
again, another good drill.
Here are the rules. On the first dribble, I have to initiate contact.
Yeah, he likes the cross. Hold on. He likes the crossover step.
On the first dribble, I have to initiate.
Yeah, he really likes the crossover step. I'm just not a fan. I just think, look how much you're exposing the ball. I think if that's a decent defender, like, he just hits that, right?
Contact. If I don't initiate contact, what does that mean? That means I round it out, which.
Well, it means you rounded out because you went with the crossover. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here before I get frustrated, because I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he seems like a good coach. Seems like he knows the game, understands what he's talking about. It's just this one concept I'm really struggling with, because I don't think, and I'm actually wanting to be challenged. So if he wants to have a conversation on this, really happy to have the conversation. I think it would be really good for you guys, because I don't think the crossover step is bad. You need it. But if you don't practice the onside step and you don't have an onside step, the crossover step, to me, it just loses all of its advantages and everything that's good about it. You just lose all of that. All the positives about it, you lose it if you don't have an onside step. Crossover step is really good for once you've got them out of position, you've already chosen a pivot foot. You can't onside step the other way. You've already stepped, you've already jabbed. Well, now you crossover step, but because they're out of position, you don't have to be as efficient. You can now go 2 dribbles to the basket. That's why when he's doing all of these, it's taking him 2, 3, 4 dribbles to get to the basket from the top of the key or the 3-point line. And we've done a lot of these drills where we've shown, like, you only need 1 dribble from the 3-point line. You only need 1 dribble from out here if you're efficient. Obviously, if there's defense in the way, you need more dribbles. But we're talking about the way he was standing earlier was they're already beat. the way that they were positioned, they're already beat. You need one dribble. One dribble should get you to your spot and score. But because he's stepping with the opposite foot, you got to do a lot more work. It's going to take a lot more dribbles. So when you're playing against a really good defender, you're probably not going to score that, or they're going to force you into a really tough spot. So you went from having an advantage to now having to take a tough shot. But if you have really good footwork, you're going to have the advantage, and it should be a layup every single time. So that's the difference. And I think we need to start teaching the game from the fundamentals and the foundations, and it's going to fix a lot of the problems that we see at the back end. And why I'm not angry at this, because I think it is teaching a lot of good stuff. And I think if players do this, I do think they're going to get better. Like if you watch this video and you learn from it, it is going to fix some problems. It is going to help you a little bit. I do think there's a better way to teach it, and then you can use this stuff on top of it. But I do think it would be a great conversation. I don't hate it. It's just, this is how we coach in America. We kind of skip the steps, and we haven't fully understood things, but we're so quick to be like, this is the way to do it, and this is why you're messing up. So anyways, we'd love to have the conversation. I think he's good. Go give him a follow, like, subscribe. I'll be watching more of his stuff for sure. And yeah, I'll be seeing what else he has. I think he's probably got a lot of good stuff to teach. Camera work is good. The content is good. So yeah, I liked it. Thank you guys. Keep sending me videos, and I'll see you all in the next one.